am thankful about me being able to live that moment, because like I always dream of it. So it was like huge. Like as I said, I would say that was my number one. Well, yeah, that was my number one dream. Like getting married to the person I love and I know I can be with forever.
Beautiful.
I know a lot of brides, like when they start contemplating like the wedding planning, they think about doing like the DIY route or the wedding planner route. So why did you guys choose to go with a wedding planner versus like doing it yourself?
Jess showed us some videos and pictures off of her Instagram, and as soon as I saw the pictures that you could take with them and the experience, I was like, this is exactly what I want guests to see. But Nidia also surprised me during the wedding as well when we were doing our first dance.
How did you guys handle the situations with family members? Because other couples are gonna face these trials during the wedding planning experience.
Yeah, so at first our process was
the people who hire you, who are so special to you, because we have talked about how you manage not only to love these people, but not to want to do your best to give them a moment of happiness. Don't I ask you when, in those moments of stress, you channel it? What do you feel when you see, for example, in this case, Tyler, Nidia? Seeing them happy in that event, seeing those who don't have that stress, seeing that they are enjoying that moment of which they gave you the opportunity to coordinate all this for them.
What is the particularity of destination weddings with Destination Ecuador? What we really want to highlight is our hospitality, our customer service. Beyond the rest that comes with it, the gastronomy, the landscapes, etc., it is our hospitality that they feel at home, that they try a little bit of what we could offer them, and that they say, wow, delicious, I feel very good, and make them feel very well cared for.
just trusting that individual, right? Jess does a really good job with her social media as well. So we're able to look at that and see how great of a job she's been doing, as well as, like I said, Nidia went through a friend, and that friend had an incredible experience. So a lot of it is word of mouth, and even something in this situation, people watching this or people listening in, we can only speak highly of the experience that we had. It was absolutely incredible. Jess was able to handle all of our stress, all of our questions with ease.
Like, I will say, like, I enjoyed 100% the wedding day from beginning to end. I was never stressed. If something was going wrong, I never noticed. I was literally just sitting there and like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
We have a great podcast today. We have Nidia and Tyler. We got Jessica Gain from Dream Planner, CEO of Dream Planner, and we got Kevin and Autumn. That's my dynamic duo. And we're here to talk about the wedding destination that happened in Ecuador. And we have a newlyweds. We can see how happy they are. Tyler's a smart man, happy life, happy wife. He gets it. And I can see how you guys resemble that love for one another. So thank you for being here. And we want to start with, how was your experience before the wedding? Like when you were like trying to figure out, well, we love each other. Like how are we going to get past the engagement?
You want to go? You want me to go?
You can start off, yeah.
So I will say, like, as a kid and like growing up, one of my biggest dreams, if not the biggest one, was getting married. So like I knew I wanted to go the big way, and I wanted to have like the greatest like celebration ever that was possible, like within a budget, So once we got engaged, as I mentioned, we got married initially December 30th, 2022. But I knew, like, I was like, so at home, how it works. Like in Ecuador, you do like el civil, and then you do like whatever, like wedding ceremony you decide to go through. So I was like, yeah, we're doing it. I don't matter if it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, we're doing it. And I am taking it the same way. Like I am getting married. So I was like looking for a wedding planner because obviously I don't live there anymore, so I knew I needed like the help. And actually, one of Jess' clients I went to high school with, so she started like posting it, like she was like posting her wedding every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Now I'm like, I'm not gonna ask her like who planned it because it looks like really fun and cool and blah blah blah. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, like who was your wedding planner? Like, can you send me the info? And I never even look at anyone else. Like I went straight to her. Like I really like her attitude. I like her job. Like I look online, social media and everything. So I was like, okay, let's start doing it. And I think cuando comenzamos, yes, like noviembre.
I have the date, yes, November 2023. Here we go. I definitely have the chat information at hand.
Yeah, November 2023. So it was like 18 months, I think she said, 17 months or 18 months.
17 meses.
Yeah. So like it was a long process, but like it was all worth it.
Yes, it was a job. I'm going to tell something there. It wasn't a job together, definitely, when I met them. Well, Miriam started looking for wedding planners and all that. No, and at that moment, she touched my Instagram profile. So it was through Maria Diaz, or that we also had a person in common.
Sí fue, ¿verdad?
María PM.
Okay, nosotros también teníamos. I had held a wedding on the beach for Maria Pia, who is a friend of hers, not that I was going to school, right? Yeah, so she gave me her contact too. Then you also saw the entire process with Maria Pia, and it was also a wedding at the foot of the sea as they wanted. So then I think that from the first meeting we clicked, because it definitely is. I think you have to click with your client from the beginning, because imagine that one has to deal with customers over the course of 10 months, 12 months, in this case, 17 months. And if we don't like it, how do we do it? How do we execute? And how do we manage to capture the client's idea in an extraordinary and spectacular wedding? So the first impression I got from Nidia was that she was clear about what she wanted. He had all his enthusiasm from the first minute. I want to get married on the beach. I want this, I want this, I want this. And then it was a matter of establishing it, balancing the planning as such.
That I like the fact that, like, for example, the preparation, we never talk about the amount of stress of, the preparation and everything. Autumn, I'm pretty sure you want to drop in a question there. Do you have any for Nidia and Tyler?
So I know a lot of brides, like when they start contemplating like the wedding planning, they think about doing like the DIY route or the wedding planner route. So why did you guys choose to go with a wedding planner versus like doing it yourself?
You want to answer that?
I mean, I think so. In this whole experience, I would consider Jess as Batman and Nidia as Robin. I'm not even in a lot of the picture. Because
You're like Alfred.
Yeah, I'm
nice.
just there. I'm there to give support and some wisdom here and there, but a lot of that process was handled by them. They were the rock stars of it all. I was just there to experience it and support them as best as I could.
I will say I decided to go through a wedding planner because like I just don't know anything. Like you don't know suppliers, you don't know places, you don't know venues, you don't know dessert, like you know nothing. So I get stressed easily. And I was like, yeah, it never went through my mind. I'm like, I'm doing it myself. No, I knew it was like too much pressure, too much stress for myself. And at the end of the day, you want to enjoy that day. And I will say 100% like have a wedding planner if you don't live there. Like if you don't live in the country you're going, 100% like hire a wedding planner.
To relinquish that trust to someone that you met through social media. What kind of psyche do you have to go through to kind of like give in to that idea that somebody else is going to put together your big day?
You want to go? Do you want me to go?
I would say a lot of it. I would say a lot of it revolves around just trusting that individual, right? Jess does a really good job with her social media as well, so we're able to look at that and see how great of a job she's been doing, as well as, like I said, Nidia went through a friend, and that friend had an incredible experience. So a lot of it is word of mouth, and even something in this situation, people watching this or people listening in, we can only speak highly of the experience that we had. It was absolutely incredible. Jess was able to handle all of our stress, all of our questions with ease.
Like, I will say, like, I enjoyed 100% the wedding day from beginning to end. I was never stressed. If something was going wrong, I never noticed. I was literally just sitting there and like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah. And my eye was twitching all day. Stress.
Yeah, like I remember I got there and like Tyler left to the beach before me, and he left me with all the alcohol. And I was like, yeah, just the alcohol. I don't want it anymore. Like, it's all yours. Like stuff like that like you don't plan. And like I had no clue how to handle that because I had a wedding dress, I had Tyler's suit, I had all my clothes, I had my mom's, like I had so much stuff, and I was like, I'm not taking care of alcohol. Like, can you please help me? Thank you very much.
Yeah, you
Kevin,
know,
what?
I have a story about alcohol that she gave me because at that moment I said, no problem, that is no problem. I take it without remembering that my boy's wedding fell during elections in Ecuador. We were on prohibition. So we had to have a plan B, so that I had already coordinated it with the cocktail service that also carries the alcohol for the event. I had already coordinated it, but at that moment she tells me I have to take ta, can you take it all? Yes. At that time, of course, what I really want most is for my clients not to be burdened with stress. As much as I can collaborate with them, I will really do it from the heart. I do it because logically it is my job, it is my profession. But we are always there. Our agency is ready to help us, right? Then we found ourselves in this situation, so we had to coordinate bringing the alcohol days before prohibition began. Prohibition began Friday at noon. Then I found out that it was Friday at midnight, that is dawn, and I traveled Thursday night with all the liquor to prevent there being any issue that the car suddenly stops him or something, because they are going to tell me, well, and you that alcohol, because it wasn't even 1 or 2 bottles. Where are you going? Carry all that alcohol, that's lot. Okay, then how do I explain that I had a Gordon? So those types of situations left me without sleep, that is normally. In marriages, I get stressed normally, but here I had an overload of stress because in my head they were going to discover me.
I felt something strange. So they're going to discover me, and with all the alcohol, they're going to take one away. What? Very rare. That's what happened to me with the alcohol issue.
I slept peacefully that night.
Jessica,
I wanted to ask you, for example, channel this stress so that the people who hire you, who are so special to you, because we have talked about how you manage not only to love these people, but not to want to do your best to give them a moment of happiness. Don't I ask you when, in those moments of stress, you channel it? What do you feel when you see, for example, in this case, Tyler, Nidia? Seeing them happy in that event, seeing those who don't have that stress, seeing that they are enjoying that moment of which they gave you the opportunity to coordinate all this for them.
Seeing them so happy after all the preparation of their marriage that it became a reality. For me, it's like, how can I explain to you, like a band-aid to the soul. I don't know how I can explain it. It's having made it not me. They will know that Dream Planner is an agency that has many people behind it. So having managed that all together, we can make the big day of a couple as cool and as great as they are a reality. It's not a story. I don't say things to say because I don't say them to like them. I really liked Nidia Tyler so much. Her whole family side by side and friend side. There we were talking in Spanglish. It was super funny and he made me laugh. No, but seeing them so happy that day, it was surprising to me. I think I just got over it. I overcame my stress level around 11 p.m. on Saturday night when the band's second set came out. I Can Breathe, and we realized we had made it. We had not achieved what we dreamed of for 17 months. We thought that every time we got together, changing one thing to another was a lot of teamwork. And even the family members who had them as representatives here in Guayaquil, because since they were far away, we had two representatives who were Nidia's mother and sister-in-law, spectacular women. They went with me to all the parts we needed to visit, and then they had feedback with Nidia and Tyler. So everything was great. Everything was a team effort. And the truth is that it filled my soul, heart, and my entire work team. I think we showed it that day to the boys when we all took our picture. It was a thrill. We had to have achieved the boys' big day.
Voy a hacer, Kevin, I'm pretty sure you heard a lot. Are you interested with a question for either Jessica or Nidia and Tyler?
Yeah, it's so beneficial to have a wedding planner to like coordinate a dream day, especially when they collaborate together, because you have somebody that has one like the experience and the connections versus somebody who's it's their first time, and yeah, as it should be their first time and only time. So as those come together, you have somebody that is gonna dedicate that dream day for you guys. As I see sometimes it's like maybe couples might have a hard time during the wedding process, during the planning process, just trying to pick out some specific things without like a mediator. I guess one of my questions to you guys is how helpful was Jessica with you guys as you were trying to figure out decisions between a purple flower and a red flower?
Mhm.
You go right ahead and take that one.
I love Tyler. Let me tell you what.
Well, I will say like yeah. Well, he did try this like food, desserts, all of that. He was like part of. But we also gotta consider like Tyler's Spanish vocabulary. It's like pretty limited. So we had that. Well, I will say it was like wonderful. Because for example, I'll give an example. Like I wanted a band. I always knew I wanted a band. And Tyler was a little bit skeptical about that one because of our budget. And she showed me a wonderful band. That was the only one she showed me initially, and I love them. Since I saw the videos, I was like, I have to have them. I don't care. And Tyler was like, well, you should consider our budget. Isn't there like a cheaper option? And there was. And Jessica took Jessica took my mom and my sister-in-law to the other audition. And they sent me a video and I was like, yeah, I don't want this, man. Like, this is not what I want. And I went to Tyler and I was like, we have to do it. Like, we have to do it. Like, if we're going to pay like X amount for them and it's just like a couple more dollars on this one, like, let's just do it. Like, we already like ruined our budget. All over our budget. So I was like, what's an extra expense?
Oh God, that's amazing because it kind of reminds me of the I don't know if you guys watched the movie The Wedding Singer when when he goes out of because he's depressed, so he goes out. He's letting other I guess his friend choose between another wedding singer, and they're like just horrible compared to him. So, but it's good. It's good that you guys have a live band because it does bring a different dynamic into the party.
It was so cool. Like I will say my favorite part of it, like the party itself was like having a live band. Like it changes the dynamic so much. Like my biggest fear, I think, while planning the wedding and my expectations out of it was like, I don't want an empty floor, like dance floor at all. Not a single second. We that was packed. That was packed since the band came out until they left. That dance floor was packed, and I was like, I know it. Like it is so worth it. It is so worth it having like a live band.
Yeah, and we're wedding photographers, Autumn and I, so we would go to weddings literally every single weekend, and you do see the big difference between live band versus DJs. Like people interact a little bit more, even with the DJ. They feel it. Like DJs are cool and stuff, but like when you really have the talent, the skill that's there, it changes the spirit and the soul of the dance floor for sure.
And like this band was actually like so good that Tyler's request for saying yes to this band was like, well, they gotta sing English, of course. So I was like, James, is it possible that they sing a couple songs that we want? Well, he wants, and they did it, you know.
Yeah, and another thing with that band as well is that we asked them to learn right a song that I wanted them to play, and they took that on and they did it, and it was wonderful.
Awesome. I like that.
They want a song, a complete playlist of songs in English. Everything is fine. But the songs that they were injured were more songs like when you enjoy them at a concert. I had my doubts. I was like, wow, people are here. And then those songs come out, you're just kind of enjoying nothing else. And I said, no, these people are going to sit on me, nothing. I didn't know in the seat, they didn't sit alone to eat, literally. And that was early and they enjoyed it. So they enjoyed all the stages that we had thought about. And I kind of had some doubts. In the end, I said, well, anyway, we are complying with the, let's say, the whim of the bride and groom with these songs that were not danceable. They were cool, enjoyable songs. But more than anything, I mean, Britney Spears are songs that no, the letters at weddings, no. In fact, they don't ask for them. But everyone absolutely enjoyed each of the songs. I think that if they played Chicken Peep, people, I mean, the vibe that all the boys had was incredible.
Jessica, a question is when you made this request for the band, because it is something cultural, right? Of course, this is how they took that request that you made to them, so that they took it as their own challenge to be able to give the bride and groom what they asked for. How did you see that they took this challenge?
You see, I have a fairly established supplier roster. I present them to every one of my clients as I did with Ed Toller. So before presenting my clients with an option, I already know that they are accessible suppliers that can say yes to certain things, not suppliers that are standardized. You see, here is the entire repertoire because there are many bands. You will know that over the course of 8 years, I know countless musical groups. So I already know my people. Let's put it this way. I already know that if they were going to have a request, they were going to make it possible. Even when I told them, they told me. Yes, look, I send you the repertoire in English so that they can select what they like, and I ready when it happens to them. What do I tell him? Nico's name is the band manager. How do I tell Nico that there are many missing songs that are not there and the boyfriends want? It gave me some fear. Then he told me, no, calm down, nothing happens. We are going to rehearse it calmly and as we had all planned. That's the importance of advanced planning, to do it on time. Not that couples suddenly think of saying a week before, oh yes, we want Britney, we want to say no, they don't have time to rehearse. So already 2 months before, they were asking me for the songs, and I Nidia, the songs, the repertoire, please, because they had to rehearse not once, many times so that they fit very well. The truth is that bands have already an established repertoire in general terms, more or less one song that the clients suddenly remove. But as if they already have something established, I call it a formula. So remove that formula, remove it, and put a different formula to please the couples. It was also a challenge for them, but it turned out great. It turned out spectacular. It never received a no from any supplier, and we ordered many things. We asked for everything we could think of. Of course.
So as you guys were going through your wedding experience with Jessica, um, so how was the from the beginning to the end, and when you guys? So I know it was like a full 18-month like kind of process. Like you were ready for the day, like ready for that dream to be made, and that process does take a while because it's all about the details. So what were certain details that you guys had that were like non-negotiables?
A bit.
So my non-negotiable once I found it out was fireworks.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So Nidia's expression of the fireworks were, I just see money exploding up in the air. But I said, I don't care. No matter what it costs, I want fireworks at the wedding.
You're the man, Tyler.
Jess showed us some videos and pictures off of her Instagram. And as soon as I saw the pictures that you could take with them and the experience, I was like, this is exactly what I want guests to see. But Nidia also surprised me during the wedding as well. When we were doing our first dance. I don't know what you would call it, but it was like streamers coming down from the decorations.
Yeah, like the kind of like a wall. I don't know how you call them, but
yeah. So we're dancing, and all of a sudden I hear boom. I'm like looking around. I thought the whole place was burning down, and she goes, "Oh, this is a surprise to you." But that was a really cool experience. I think all of that, and I actually got very emotional when I was standing there with my mom getting ready to walk down the aisle. I was just looking out at the ocean, and I was looking at all the decorations, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. You know, I know Nidia touched on it earlier that it was like her dream as a little kid, and you know, I wouldn't say I was actively dreaming about it, maybe as much as her growing up, but I would say that I always imagined the day, but I didn't imagine it to be that perfect. It really was. I know a lot of people may talk it up, but I really think that Jess did a wonderful job with the decorations, coupled with Nidia. It was a really beautiful day, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
a non-negotiable for me was like flowers. Like I wanted flower in every single corner. Like there were so many flowers at that place that while I was getting ready, I was like, oh my goodness, there's like nowhere to walk right now because they had them like all laid out on the ground. And I'm like, that is so nice. Like as I said, like all the suppliers that she like works with were like wonderful. And it does help a lot, like also social media. Cause like, for example, we had like a dessert table. I literally copied one of the ones that she already. I was like, I want that one. I don't want to change anything about that. I want that one. So like, and it was exactly the yes, cambiaste algo en esa mesa. I don't even think she like changed it. It was like just the way I pictured, because like that one I could actually picture, because I said I think she posted it on like a WhatsApp status or something. I took a screenshot and I was like, you gotta do that one for me. I want that one.
If I change something, I'll tell you, you didn't notice anything but change. I added. We had talked a little about everything, and obviously everything was mapped out. Everything was through photos of a pro forma, quote, images, likes, dislikes, etc., etc. Already at the time of the day as such, I have prior meetings with all my suppliers. In fact, we visited the location. On certain occasions, my suppliers usually joke and say, yes, yes, again, we are going to visit the town that you don't know by heart. No, because now we're going to do it that way. So because my challenge at this wedding was that I wanted to move everything in YY and move the direction of what planners or event organizers who hold weddings in that place normally do. So I said, I want to do something different. We wanted to do something different. We changed certain things. I had so much confidence. Nidia and Tyler gave me so much confidence that there were decisions we made last minute. Let's see where it was in the pro forma. Do you remember, Nidia? The structure of the candy table, which had a square quote shape, yes? Yeah, it was like more like quadrants, right? So we had already done it at another wedding, and I say that it can look the same way with the same resources, but make it prettier. So at that good moment, we are going to peek like a swing from side to side and cross a long row of flowers, which is spectacular, and we put the same lamps that Nidia wanted. But the concept is the same, we just changed the shape, nothing more. Shall we? Yes, we do. Girlfriends will like it, of course they will. So the same thing happened with the centerpieces. We have a shape, a measurement, everything is standardized. My florist tells me he knows what we are going to do at the round tables. We want to do something else. We want to talk about something like that. So we started to see certain options. He didn't tell me, do you know what I'm going to send? Make some candles that stay up and all that. And since I know that Nidia also really liked the topic of lighting and all that, I said, give her, let's do it. I think I asked you if you liked twigs, didn't I? And you told me you didn't like twigs, no, because I felt it interfered with communication. When you're bald, I tell. Can I put some twigs? Like, who doesn't want the thing? And he tells me no, because I feel like he's going to obstruct the perfect space. Ready, right? So I didn't want to put the typical center candle that is placed on small round centerpieces and tables. And we began to think, tens, thank God my suppliers are always grateful for a world that always listens to them. She's crazy. Always follow our follies and we create that. Was it made just for the boys' wedding? Some like small chandeliers for the centerpieces below that we already had established. So she didn't know about things that I did internally. So I did modify certain things. But to improve, always to improve. So then the complete result is already seen and will be seen on the networks later when we have our official video.
And something really quick to add, like I also think like that's why it's so important, like having a relationship with your wedding planner and like actually liking her and actually liking her job, because like she will come to me with like random questions and I'm like, I don't know, like you can pick, I know nothing about this. And like I don't regret that at all. Like I didn't see a single flaw or a single thing that I was like, that's ugly. I loved it all. Like I was just like, this is my dream. Like literally this is my dream coming through, like true right now.
I have a question for you guys in terms of like, for example, when you, two questions as a matter of fact. How did you guys end up, how was the proposal prior to the wedding? I'm actually kind of curious. You know, I'm pretty sure after months, you probably finally said yes to Nidia's request, right? I'm just joking.
Yeah. So
But
I think for the sake of it, I'll do a little recap of our relationship for the podcast and say that, you know, in March of 2020, we met online due to a friend telling me to download OkCupid and a friend from her to download OkCupid. With that, we met very quickly. All I said to her was, hey, in the app. And that's actually how I started off my vows, starting it off the same way as, you know, our relationship started. And we didn't meet in person for 6 months. I didn't meet her until September of 2020. And getting into that, we dated long distance for a couple of years. It was difficult at times for that relationship, but we pushed through. We knew we wanted to be together. And eventually it came down to the point, to get to your question, where we were sitting down when we were together having difficult conversations. Hey, we're long distance. We're back and forth. Is this going to work or not? Right? We have to decide whether this is the person we want to spend the rest of our lives with. And we knew that we loved each other and we were like, all right, this is what we want to do. So how are we going to go about doing it? So she was like, look, my parents are coming at the end of December of what 2023 was
2022.
22. And she was like, so you got to move a little fast if we want everybody together. So December 3rd, I was talking with her aunt a couple weeks prior, and I said, look, I want to go up, and we did it in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, the place that I've been a couple times. I think it's a really beautiful town. And I went out on this bridge, and I proposed to Nidia there with her aunt and her my nieces and family there at the time.
It was hilarious. It's such a funny story.
Yeah, so we could dive into that story a little bit more if you guys want, but we
Definitely.
we ended up getting engaged December 3rd, and then her parents arrived around the holidays, and we got legally married here in the States December 30th.
Awesome. You guys have any question, Autumn and Kevin?
Yeah, well, I gotta ask. So how was the process with the
Todos
ring?
estamos con el corazón en la cara, así. El corazón.
Yeah. Like how is it when you got to like building up to the ring process to not letting her know to then trying to keep it just all together of like coordinating with families and all that, like
I did send him the kind of ring I wanted. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I know that's the whole part, right? It's like how do you
Yeah. So starting off with the ring, she sent me a couple designs that she wanted, and there's actually this guy that I knew from the church that I used to attend pretty frequently. I met up with him. He actually works at a jewelry shop at a local mall near us, and he does his own side gig. So I went over to his house a couple different times and tried to keep it secret. I think I did a decent job. Nidia can attest to that. But I would go with him, and he would pen to paper, start designing the ring. I'd show him a couple pictures. I could give you probably a 5-minute TED talk now about rings that I couldn't have before. But it was an incredible experience buying the ring, going throughout the process, having that personal touch through somebody I knew instead of maybe going through one of the big retailers out there. But yeah, I'll let you speak to how I was able to keep it a secret. Do you remember how I went about?
I think like we used to like share our locations and like find mine, but I think he like took me out or something for like that like period of time. But I found fact, like I'll say I didn't know I was getting engaged the day that happened because like Hannah dropped me off my aunt. And literally the first thing that my aunt tells me when I get there was like, do you want to go get your nails done? And I'm like, I'm getting engaged. So I got my nails done. She on a Friday. Then she's like, you know what we should do? We should really go to Jim Thorpe tomorrow, but we have to dress up really nice. And I'm like, bro, can you try? Can you at least try? So I was like, okay, I'm getting engaged, blah, blah, blah. But the whole day, like, I don't know how my aunt is still alive. Like, she looked like she was gonna have a heart attack anytime. Like, she just had so much anxiety, and she was like, oh, take a picture there. Let's walk there. You see that tree? Let's go see it. I'm like, calm down. So by the time, like, when it happened, no, I had no clue Tyler was gonna, it's really funny. Like, we have pictures that I'm literally like posting there because my aunt saw him like from really far, but I was like trying to take a picture from the bridge. So I never saw him. But then my aunt, I think, saw him. She turns me around and she's like, grabs my phone and she's like, let me take a picture of you. And you can see like I am like posing, but I'm like, what's going on right now? And you can see picture like Tyler in the back in a lot of pictures, and he just keeps getting closer and closer and closer. And I never saw him because I was just in my head like my aunt's gonna have a stroke. Like literally, that's the only thing I could have like think of. And then it happened. And then he touched my shoulder, and I'm like, it's right now.
It's happening. But Tyler, I like that ninja style. Like they couldn't even hear your steps.
Yeah,
Like
I tried
that.
to walk very discreetly on the bridge.
Yeah. No. I never saw him.
No, Autumn, you got a question?
I love that. So like as we've been discussing, there are so many aspects that go into wedding planning, but I'm curious, because I hear from a lot of couples like wedding planning, and then as the date gets closer, like there's a lot of stress that builds up in the relationship. So I'm curious, like how you guys prepared for the marriage portion, and like how did you guys prioritize communication and making sure that you guys like listen to each other? If you could walk us through that, that would be great.
I love Nidia's laugh right now. She's
We're like
just
just
going
talking
berserk.
about communication.
Hi. I need a communication.
You want to start it off and I'll
No,
follow up?
you can start.
So a lot of the back and forth was between Jess and Nidia, but I think that the week of provided a little bit of extra challenges to the situation because roughly we brought 25 to 30 people from the United States to Ecuador, friends, family of mine that wanted to travel. Well, we tried our best to figure out some of the logistics behind that situation, but we were far from it when it turned out push came to shove. So Nidia was very stressed in those situations and definitely let me know about it very early on.
I was ready to start like putting them on planes and sending them back. I was so ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stress. I was saying to Nidia, how is it possible that I was able to absorb all your stress from the entire event? But here I can't help. There were many people who were their direct stress. He was very stressed because he had to deal with so many people, right? She was the hostess. Even Silers, she was the hostess. Of all those people who came from the United States to the bride's country, then I felt a strong pressure. Of course, the mother and I told her, but calm down, Nidia, please calm down. No, yesterday a scream of distraction, a despondency because I wanted everything to go well. Logically, they feel comfortable, everyone is happy, but there were many people there were. It occurred to them to visit, not only that they got off the plane to the wedding, they didn't want to walk to one place, then another, then the transfer of many people, and logically taking good care of them, food, etc., is what caused that level of stress that skyrocketed. When we talked, he told me, I'm stressed. So, of course, it was because she had that awarded. No matter how much she wanted to control it, no matter how much she suddenly, mom and dad were always there helping them, the spectacular sister-in-law, super cool, she still had the stress that all the people who have arrived here in Ecuador feel well cared for. So that was the stress they had for a week.
Jessica did such a great job, like not only the wedding stress, but also like trying to help out so so the Tyler's family can feel not only welcome but part of the family. Wanted to ask you that. How was the family integration, Tyler? Because the Ecuadorian culture is super different than American culture, and how did they embrace it? How did they take it when you say like, yeah, we're gonna have our wedding in Ecuador, but also perhaps the advantage you have was like you visited Ecuador so many times, like you were able to prepare your family. And how did they like the country?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of layers to that. And I think that because I was able to experience, this was my 6th time going to Ecuador throughout our relationship, the back and forth. So like you said, I was able to prepare them. I was able to prepare them for, I would say the good, but also the bad. There are some situations happening in Ecuador right now in the news that everybody is aware of and can see. So a lot of family members, right? When you start to type in on the Google search, even when Nita and I first met, I told my mom about me going to visit her. The first thing my mom looks up, the bad news comes up. So I'm able to prepare them and say, look, like everything that we're doing and everything that Jess is preparing for us is going to be safe. It's going to be secure. It's going to be beautiful. And I'm very excited for you guys to see the beauty of the country. I would let them know that, I'm so excited for them to go to see these beautiful beaches that we've been to. I let them know it's probably similar to Mexico. I haven't been there yet, and that how warm the water is, as well as, how beautiful it is. But I think everybody was very receptive, very
Mhm.
excited about the process. They enjoyed the food. They enjoyed the culture. Everybody down there was super friendly with us. That was one of the biggest things that Nidia told me when we first started dating, is just how friendly people from Ecuador are. You go to a store, they can realize that my English is broken. It's far from perfect.
Your Spanish, you
Or
mean?
Spanish.
My English work.
Yeah, my Spanish is far from perfect. So if you can put some words together, they're happy to help you. Sometimes I look around and try and find Nidia to come save me, but
Funny story, like I'll interrupt and
Yeah.
like I think we brought one of one of our friends, and he brought his mom and his dad. We had never met the dad, never. He's a wild person, literally wild. So the first day they got there, for you to understand like the good impression they like took home. The first day I'd like leave them in the bedroom they're sleeping. So my parents' house is here. Actually, the house next door is an Airbnb. So they were staying there. I leave them, good night, God bless you, bye. Next morning, I went out to get groceries with my mom. We're going in, and he's talking to like the security guard in the gated community where my parents
father.
live, the dad. And I'm like, did you get lost? Like, where are you outside? He's like, oh no, I'm just asking them to get me a taxi because we're trying to go for breakfast. And I was like, no, just come home. We got groceries to make breakfast. So we go back to the house, and he's like, look, like starts showing me pictures of like him. He left the house around midnight, walk to like maybe 20 minutes to like a kind of like a bar or whatever. And like people were just like being like, cheers for the gringo, cheers and the gringo, and blah blah blah. And he has like videos, and he was like having the best time of his life. And then a random person offered to take him home. Nothing happened to this dude. Like he had never been outside the country ever. And he decided just to walk to a bar and then being dropped off. And I'm like, that is so cool.
That's amazing.
When Nidia told me, because she had to cross a bridge, right? Let's see. Yes.
The bridge, specifically the Guayaquil Bridge and the
Chua.
that bridge.
An expatriate in Ecuador had to cross a bridge at midnight. Guayaquil is
The area.
sweltering when Nidia handed me it.
It counted.
I felt that the story was not going to end well.
Because
It couldn't have been, couldn't it?
something occurred, but ultimately nothing adverse happened to him. On the contrary, he made numerous friends. He returned.
Joyful return, jubilant, contemplating I could accomplish it, yet no.
They had a heart attack. They were a heart attack. They were all a heart attack.
My eye was literally like twitching. I told Tana, I was like, you gotta buy me a chain, because I'm like tying him to the bed when they go to bed this like
Jesse,
tonight. Like this is not happening again.
Yeah, so you don't miss tying him to bed and see you tomorrow.
Jessica, a question. Since you manage all this infrastructure to create a wedding, not only well celebrated but safe, you have established yourself and settled with people from the security issue, right? How have you managed to provide those services?
security.
Well, a couple of years ago, I saw this service, this item necessary given the circumstances of the country as such. Of course, a couple of years ago, we were not as complicated as we are now. In the end, I realized that the guests and the bride and groom, logically, it feels somehow to realize that you have people, these private guards, because they are private guards who have their altibala vest, their name, that of the security team, their guns. It is armed guard, not ready to proceed in case of, and thank God we have never had the need to act. I say act, but it gives them a certain security. Taking into consideration that the beach, you will know that most of the establishments are facing the sea. When it gets dark, you can't see anything, but you can't see anything on the horizon. You see totally black. So on many occasions, I saw and said, wow, years ago, I said a person can enter here, and he has already entered the wedding. I don't notice. No one noticed. So we started to see this need. We talked about it with the boys according to some time ago, and we said, of course, we are going to have private custody, of course, and the boys were complying. In fact, I have a story here that you don't know. I don't think I could tell you. It's just that we haven't been able to talk. We are talking. You have the privilege that we can meet again with my boyfriends here in this live, because we have not been able to have this feedback. But there was a strange person, at the wedding outside there was a strange gentleman, who was not a guard. He was not a car caretaker. He was not, that is, he was in a suspicious attitude. Then the security gentleman who have the order to communicate with us called me. So yes, look at this and that. And I already said, but the Lord doesn't want to withdraw. And then I stayed like this. But you have to do something because you kind of don't want to withdraw. He was out just in case, but he didn't have to be sitting nearby, strangely out there. I mean, he wouldn't have to. So the guards tell me I'll notify you in case we have to proceed. And I, in my head, said, okay, bye. No, 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 no. This can't be happening to me. What do you mean proceed? So he meant taking action in case something happens. I said, look, do what you have to do, but try not to make bullet noise. How is it going to be bad? I mean, no.
It may sound like fires.
Artificial fireworks.
Nidia, I wanted to ask you, like it's beautiful your love story with Tyler. I really admire the conviction you have for one another and the commitment you also pledge for one another. And you were able to capitalize that with being married. And Tyler has to adapt to the Ecuadorian culture. I hope he likes the Ecuadorian food because there's a lot of diversity with the food. I don't think there's complaint. Kevin has eaten a lot of Ecuadorian food, by the way, because he loves it. My question to you, Nidia, is how for some Ecuadorians it's hard to adapt to the cold, to the different environment that Guayaquil is different in the environment of neighborhood and friends and environment. How has your adaptation been to the country and adapting also to Tyler's environment?
I will say it wasn't easy at first. Like you do go through like let's go like a dark process because like you're living. I was 24 when I moved here. I already had my family. I already had my friends. I already had like a life there. So it was like 100% like change. So I did go through like a dark moment and like a dark process. So the first thing that I was like in my mind, like going crazy, I told him I need to join a gym. So the first thing I did was like I used to do CrossFit at home, so I started doing CrossFit here. Because when I got here, I couldn't work, I couldn't go to school, I couldn't do anything. So I joined a gym. I still go to this gym. Tyler goes to it as well now. He joined me after a year of me being like, "Are you gonna go with me? Are you gonna go with me? Are you gonna go with me?" So that was my step number one. Then once I was like able to start working, I got to meet new people. Thanks to God, like Tyler's friends have all like either wives or girlfriends or anything, and I do get along with all of them. So I went from like being Tyler's wife, is well, girlfriend slash wife later on to Nidia, my friend. So that also helped a lot in the process because I already had like people that I could go to if I felt lonely or if I didn't have like something like someone to do or like someone to share a moment with. Now I did. I have more people here. Also I have like family pretty close to where we are. They're only like an hour away. So that also helped initially when I didn't have anyone I could go to them. I will still say like, yeah, I miss 100% my home and like my family and my food and my weather. But I've made peace with the idea that this is my home now, and I'm happy with it. Like I'm with Tyler. My parents can come and go locally, so it's, and also a really important factor that I forgot to mention, Tyler's family. Mostly Tyler's mom adopted me like another daughter, like their dark skinned daughter. um, they're all like white, they're like gingers. I'm like a dark spot there, literally.
The black sheep kind of, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like you can be like, once, a funny story. Once we got to get a pedicure, and like the lady was like, "Is that your mom?" And I'm like, "Only if I'm adopted." Like I don't know how that one could be my mom. But yeah, like mom accepted me right away. Treated me like another kid, and his sister also, like I love them as a mom, as a sister. Like they've really been like one of the biggest support I have in this country.
I love to hear that. Autumn, Kevin, you guys have a question?
Yeah, I'm curious, what was your photography experience like on the day?
Wonderful.
So, one of the things that I find interesting on that day is a lot of American weddings, or ones that I've been to here, a lot of the focus is around getting solo shots with your groomsmen. So it'll be like one groomsman at a time, one groomsman at a time. But come to find out after our wedding that is not common. So I had a friend of mine who speaks Spanish talk to the photographer and say, "Hey, I want to get solo shots with each one of my groomsmen." And the photographer ended up telling Nidia he wanted solo shots with each one of the groomsmen. I didn't realize that Nidia told me the focal point is us. Like it's the group, it's the groomsmen as a whole. It is also the bridesmaids as a whole, and then it's all just focused on Nidia and I. So that was a little bit of like a culture change. But obviously the photographers took care of it and they were happy to do so. It was just something I learned along the way.
I will say it was so cute. Brian, that was the name of the guy. It was so cute because like he was trying so hard to use his English like skill with Tyler, and I was like, I just want to go there and like grab his cheek and be like, "Oh, you're doing so good." But that was like wonderful, and like they both had like such like good energy. Not so Tyler was like, "I even feel famous right now." But it was like so cool. Like as I said, like every single person that was part of this wedding, like they just made it better. Like if I already had, like if I was already here, I would come to like them and they would like even like hype me more. And like it was so fun because like Brian was like the main like communication like source that we had. So like for me, when I was like doing my photo shoot, he was like, "No, Nidia, like go like this, and like it was so like fun to watch. I'm like, "Oh my god, you've been doing this for so long that you can even like start to pretend to be the bride." Like he was like, "Put your shoulder back, put it lower, put your hand like that." Like it was
a dramatization that said, Nidia said, "Put yourself like this. Eva is a man. She is a man. The wife was there."
yeah. So like it was just like so funny, and like also like I am super like I like talking, but once you put a freaking camera in my face and I have to pose, like you lost me. I lost my whole personality, and like he didn't help me to like kind of like bring it back and actually like act like myself. I haven't seen the pictures just yet. I hope I look good. It was really fun.
Todavía no.
Yeah.
It's coming. What about you, Kevin? You're interested in asking them a question?
Yeah, definitely. So during the wedding planning experience, family members, they sometimes like to try to make decisions on the behalf of the couple. So
Those are the epic fights, buddy.
yeah, right. Those are the hard ones for sure.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's not the family day. It's like, mom, it's not your day no more. It's like, hey, it's this day, the couple's day.
Yeah.
So like, how did you guys handle the situations with family members, because other couples are gonna they're gonna face these trials
Yeah.
during the wedding planning experience.
Yeah. So at first, our process was you're not contributing financially to the
Mhm.
wedding. So it is our wedding, it is our show, it is our day. So that was our philosophy at first. However, as we progressed, right, that's a very narrow mindset. We realized it can also come off as arrogant, it can come off as rude. You know, it's as much as it is your day, it's also their day. They're proud of you, they're excited to be with you, they're excited for you guys to get married. And they were in the position to help out at least somewhat financially. So all of that considered, we did start to listen a little bit more, and we started to hear some feedback.
I will say it was not as bad as I was expecting. Like, I think the only thing that I got from my parents were like, "Oh, invite this person, let them sit with us," stuff like that. But I was like, they got to like the point that we're like, "Okay, this is not my day; it's yours. Like, if you think you can do it, do it. If not, not." Like Tyler's dad, I don't think he ever made a comment about it. I don't even think like Tyler's dad was like a zero to the left. He couldn't
I
care
like
less.
Tyler's dad.
Yeah. His mom as well. Like I don't even know if he's
Yeah, so if I'm Alfred, he's Lucius Fox. So
yeah. Yeah, 100%. I don't think Tyler's mom. Did your mom make a comment? I don't even think so. My mom.
not much. My mom
I'll
wanted
say
me
my
to.
mom and my dad were the problem. And we're gonna
Can I
point
be
fingers. My parents.
adopted, Tyler, somehow? You know, seems like that family is like thumbs up.
Yeah.
I feel like it also has to do a lot with the fact that it was Tyler's dad had been it was his second time going to Ecuador, but Tyler's mom was the first time. So they had zero expectations out of it. So they were just like, do whatever you want. Like do whatever you want. But my mom was like, oh, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. Like when my mom saw the band, my mom was like, you should really get the band. And I'm like, I know, but I don't know. I don't know if Tyler's gonna tell me yes. Like I think I waited like 2 to 3 days to tell Tyler how much the band was. I was like so scared because I asked Jess right away, and I was like, I gotta wait for a good moment to tell him this information. But I did have to wait. But our families were. I wouldn't say we had like a struggle with them because I do think you have a lot of liberty when you are the one paying most of the wedding.
Jessica,
When they make requests to you, for example, in this beautiful marriage that Edie had there, Tyler, what were they? Requirements you had to make an extra effort to meet them?
The two requirements, well, really, as we had contemplated so long in advance, nothing for me was a pressure as such. The pressure I think I put on myself was the fact that it coincided with an election on election day. And when we found out about this news with Nidia and Tyler, it was like January, right? At the moment when I was going to leave, well, the issue of the votes did not pass and it coincided. It was impossible to move the. On the date, however, they asked me about the details and again how many times we would change the date.
Yes, absolutely. I'm missing that great story.
It's the story. I need it. Please pay attention.
But hey, the first time what? Just how likely is it that you also think there are some drawbacks? It's dry law, la 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 yai. Me indeed.
I always say, I think there is an inconvenience, but inside it said. And yes, there is, but well, anyway, I'm not going to tell you. Let's see what's up. And part of my job is precisely to manage these situations because now in Ecuador, I've lived
Like the cross of death at a grand wedding, lala.
pandemic. When there is this issue of national strikes and it ends, the food does not enter from one region to another, the flowers. I have had absolutely everything, guys, and I told Nidia that because there is also a lot about communication, and thank God the experience of one makes him have a little more security. I think not like I felt like I had already experienced it all really in throughout this period. I said, well, it's a wedding amidst an election. All of a sudden, no, there won't necessarily be greater incidents, but it's real.
Yes, I was extremely stressed. Here's an interesting tale. Everyone, please listen to it. In March, he was already immersed in wedding preparations. March 22, it's quite like a day reminiscent of yesterday.
Truly 20 years.
Yes, I do remember because I was at that wedding on March 22.
He says, yes, I need to talk. It's an urgent matter with you, unlike any other. In the past 2 years, he has never spoken to me in this manner. It's crucial, and I am currently attending a wedding right after work, so I promise to call you immediately. Absolutely not. It was evident that he didn't miss the video message. And I say, no.
No, Jess says to me, no, something tells me, don't tell me you're pregnant. And I reply, I dearly wish that was the news. I'd love that, but alas, no.
Sure, because now, has it ever occurred to me when you mentioned that to me? What I mean is, I was actually pregnant with Al. In the end, what was going to happen is that she was no longer going to drink the water from the vases as she had planned, and she was not going to enjoy it 100%, but she was going to enjoy it. No, then she says, I would like to, and I. What transpired there? He reaches out to me, initiates a video call.
I recorded it. I recorded it at this moment because I shared it when I recorded the screen.
Because I couldn't
Believe what was happening to me that day. Among other things, she came.
as if to end my chaotic life. That's how he ended it. He made me.
I was overwhelmed with emotion and tears streamed down like an ocean.
Donald Trump, that he's not going to let me pass, that the visa, that I don't have permission, that I don't know what, that I can't, that my lawyer said that I can't, that you have to.
Could you clarify what you mean?
Yes. So, she was crying. But guys, she was crying in a way I can't explain. She was a girl. She was already swollen. I mean, she was. Did you cry before that call? I have no clear idea of how much time mom spent there.
Really quick, before I called Jess, like my lawyer that day was like, I would recommend you not to leave the country. I'm a green card holder, but it's the conditional one through marriage. So I had to go through like the remove condition process, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is that because of the new administration coming in, I hadn't gotten my extension letter just yet. And my green card expires in June. So I had already applied for it, but one of the conditions is that you can only apply within 90 days of expiring. So the first day I could apply was March 13th. So it was not on me. It was not like, oh, you waited too long. Like that was the earliest I could apply. So then I was like shopping with my mom, and I get a message from my lawyer being like, I recommend you not leaving the country due to circumstances. And I'm like, bro, what? It's March 22nd. My wedding is in 20 freaking days. Like, what?
Oh my goodness.
Damn.
I was crying. Like, I lost it on the phone with her. And I just basically asked her, like, is it possible, if needed, to change the date?
I'm interested in knowing this because, like, for example, that must have been stressful, but to have a good partner to listen to you and to calm down the wave, because think about it, like it's your big day, you love this man, and you just want to finalize it and unite you two. Tyler, how did, when you saw Nidia going through like the adaptation of the country, adapting to you, adapting to the family, adapting to these bad news, how were you supportive to her? How did you find out to be a good rock for her?
Yeah, so I think and I think Nidia can attest to this, the yin and yang to our relationship is that I come with a lot of patience, is what she has been telling me over the years.
I come with fire.
Yeah, so she's fire and passion, I'm water, right? So I think a lot of times she'll go through those cycles, and I try and be there and be supportive by listening, being attentive. Because a lot of times I think people will go into situations like this trying to solve problems, but I think sometimes some problems can't be solved. Sometimes time is the only answer, as well as some of her issues were building relationships here. That takes time. So I think some of that can be supporting her. Another was in our relationship, as we alluded to earlier, was not defining her as my wife, but as Nidia, because that is who she is. That is her person. We didn't want my friends to perceive her as Nidia or as my wife. We wanted her to be perceived as Nidia, as her own individual. So just moving forward, and that specific event as well. So Monday morning, I am on the phone with Custom Border Patrol, talking to them about this situation. I'm at work. I go into a huddle room. I'm trying to get all the answers and responses. I told her I should have recorded the call so she could hear it to ease her mind, but I didn't think of that at the time. But I did. I got on with Custom Border Patrol, and they said that nothing has changed with green card holders as long as it's not expired. I called USCIS as well. I called everybody I could. So I sat in a room at work for a little while to try and ease her mind. And I said, everything should be all right. And then we got on finally with our paralegal, and she eased our minds as well and basically backtracked her statement and said, you should be okay. And we said, well, your message clearly said otherwise.
Like, if I show you let me find the message, because like the way she brought it up was like, it was terrible. Like,
A Tyler le faltó llamar a Donald Trump. Fue lo
Yeah.
único que faltó. Pero estaba un
Hotline.
paso.
Oval.
so
Please
I'll
connect
read
me
the
to the
message.
Oval Office.
She was like, hi, probably you will need to postpone your trip if outside of US. Your approval takes much longer than 60 days. The receipt extends your status. However, at this point, I would not take a chance. Thanks.
Wow.
That.
That's very black and
17
white.
meses, chao. 17 meses, chao.
Yes, like I will understand, but like, oh, my advice is like, but nothing should happen to you. She said, I would recommend not to go. And I'm like, what am I saying right now?
Nidia, how do you feel when you got that you saw that Tyler went above and beyond to, give you that calmness and bring you that stability, emotional stability you needed? How did that make you feel?
Oh, like as I said, like I believe in God, I believe in destiny, I believe in every single thing that you can like believe in. I believe in, and I really think like God sent me like Tyler because he's exactly what I needed. Like he gives me the calm even when I'm like, and I just want to shake and be like, shut up, it's me now. But he's like, bro, like chill, like everything's fine. You just gotta breathe and stuff like that. So he's literally like the calm that I needed in my life. And like sometimes, and I actually like said that in my vows. He just puts me like to okay, like I'm usually 150% of energy. Okay, I can be to like 99/100 because that's my minimum, I think. So he does help me with that. And he does like try to make me a better person. And I guess that's what all of us should look in like our partners, like who actually encouraged you to be a better person and like your best version. So I do appreciate that, and I do tell him like thank you for like dealing with me because I know I can be like a little tornado.
But that's cool that you,
Tyler, por controlar a Nidia tanto.
that's cool. That's cool that you guys are able to be open-minded about getting each other's feedback and feeding from each other's energy too. Autumn, what questions do you have in this conversation with them?
One of
that
my
you're interested in?
One of my favorite parts of a wedding day is getting to see the groom's reaction when the bride comes down the aisle. So, Tyler, what went through your mind when you saw her come down the aisle?
Oh my God. Oof.
Yeah, so I tried to wait till the last second. So we didn't do one of the situations where I was facing away and then we turn around. I was already facing that direction. However, we had my nieces walk down the aisle. We had one be the flower girl and one be the ring bearer.
The song.
So I was like, I'm going to wait for my last niece to walk down before I look up. And I look up and the song that I picked started playing and I lost it. Everybody said I was an ugly crier. I looked terrible. I was red. I was trying to hold back my tears, but it looked awful.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the videos yet. I've only seen side portraits, but it looks like it's going to be very, very rough.
What? That's awesome. Like what kind of emotion? Was it a mixed emotion or was just pure happiness and joy?
Yeah, I think at that point it is just pure happiness and joy. I had a difficult childhood growing up, and I think my mom was through multiple different marriages. So the thing that I've always wanted the most was a happy marriage. I've always prayed for it. I've always asked the universe. I've always been somebody that's like, I want a marriage. And that was finally the day. That was the day that we got to celebrate our love. I was so excited, so happy, just so emotional. Everything came together. And like I said, giving credit to both of these two. I can't give enough credit to Jess and Nidia for planning that day, working back and forth together. It was beautiful.
It was like, I would say, like, I was so ready for not to cry. I was like, okay, let's have fun. Let's just do it. And then I saw his face and I'm like, bro, you're ruining everything right now. I just started crying right away as well. And like every single person, like it was so magical, so like out of this world. Like I don't even have words to describe it, but everything, and like so true. Like you can see, like you could feel the love. Like it's like undescribable. Like I had never felt that way in my life before. And like all the love you can feel, like every single person in that like ceremony, I can cry through like different moments. There's like this big guy that is like our friend. I was like, and he's like a rock. Like I've never seen like an emotion in his face ever. And I was like, did you cry? And he's like, multiple times. And I'm like, no way. And I couldn't believe it. And I went to his mom and I was like, did he actually cry? And she was like, yeah, he lost it. And I'm like, oh. So it was like so emotional. And like, as I said, like so important for us. Like I really like feel like it filled up my heart even like more.
That's cool. I love that. Kevin.
Hey there, everyone. Take a look at this amazing thing.
I'll try. Place it right here and start playing. Un poquito.
Oh, look at
Oh,
that. I like the behind the scenes.
Celebrate our love with our loved ones, even though we've been celebrating it since day one.
Wow.
Y ahí empieza a llorar. Oh.
The venue looks beautiful.
They had the most mesmerizing sunset. They had an extraordinary, epic sunset. I have many weddings on the beach, but we don't always have sunsets. The sunset they had was truly magnificent and spectacular. Another issue we faced was the weather, which was one of our major problems at their wedding. It rained consistently all week. Since Thursday, I was at the beaches and it continued to rain. Despite the rain, we maintained an optimistic vibe, hoping that it wouldn't rain on Saturday. Miraculously, it didn't rain at all. Not a single drop fell, leaving me astounded. They awarded me an A in passing with spectacular weather, possibly due to all the excitement. I also have videos of Tyler crying, which are quite emotional and heartwarming.
And we won't put those in the podcast, Tyler. Don't worry, you're safe with us, man.
I'll have to relive it every time we watch the wedding videos.
Oh, I'll post them everywhere.
He's gonna do. I think Nidia's gonna do like memes about them.
Yeah.
Probably.
Go ahead, Kevin. Ask a good question.
Yeah. So
Pregunta. Ta, 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 ta.
yeah, what kind of style of food did you guys go for? Like, how did you keep the food? Did you keep it like all Ecuadorian, or did you diversify it a little bit for a mix of both cultures coming together?
Yeah. So the week of, so everybody arrived the Monday before. We had our wedding on a Saturday. It was Saturday, April 12th. And I from my experiences that I've gone to Ecuador a few times now, I can have Ecuadorian food and I absolutely love it. I love trying a bunch of different things. But after a couple days, I'm just so used to everything here that I love a good hamburger every once in a while. I love some what we would deem American food, right? I don't really know if we have quote unquote American food. It's all from other countries, but Yeah, we try to do that with the guests as well. We would show them different dishes there. I could list a couple of my favorites. I love seco de pollo. I love encebollado, yapangacho. I don't know
Good job, Nidia.
that you guys have tried, but all of those are great options. And for the wedding itself, Jess picked somebody for us, and we were able to sit down at have a meal prior to the wedding and try the dishes. I don't know. Would you consider those like pure Ecuadorian meals for that night, or?
I mean, like the important, like big plate itself, I would say like it was like not that Ecuadorian. Like it was like chicken or beef and stuff like that, and like rice. But when we did, was it like the cocktail hour, whatever? We even had like an Ecuador flag there, and it was all Ecuadorian. Because I was going to like my idea was like, okay, you're here, like you're sucking it in, and you're living the whole Ecuadorian experience, you know. So like that was 100% Ecuadorian. We had like mini corviches, mini ceviches, mini pinchos, stuff like that. So we had all of those were Ecuadorian, but since we knew some of us like we're gonna be like dancing and drinking and blah blah blah, you get hungry. Like I get hungry so easily. So we decided to do like a midnight snack, and we did burgers for that one. So in that way, we also like please them. Ecuadorians will eat a burger, and like Americans will be like, okay, fine, it's something we're familiar with. So I think that was like the perfect like midnight meal kind of, and it worked out perfectly.
Definitely.
Jessica,
You have a chef who is correct in your absolute trust, and it seems that he is a high-end chef. He was able to contribute to you with his expertise in this voice.
From every point of view, at the time I spoke with each of the suppliers, because there is a difference in a destination welling to an Ecuadorian wedding. I needed commitment. I know that my suppliers have the commitment, but I needed them to let me know, to understand that this event was very special. All events are special, before they later start demanding my other that all events are special. Events are special. Yes, 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 yes. Cut this, not this. All events are special. But like I was saying to Nidia, your wedding particular is going to be a before and after, at least of the destination where is that I have driven. I told him and asked him if they gave me authorization to be able to do little things that we knew could help or impact a little more. A destination wedding, then Nidia and Tyler, dois, everything. So with the chef, we decided to do the topic of the live dives that the boys had already decided. But the chef told me, yes, I'm going to put a bunch of green. I'm going to put a canoe, and in the canoe, I'm going to put what these are of what the green leaves are called. The leaves that I'm going to place a net, like the net's not for fishing. I thought what he was telling me was spectacular, and we are going to do such a thing, and that is to say, it looks quite Ecuadorian. Suddenly, he tells me I'm going to carry the Ecuadorian flag, and it was, well, what can I tell you guys? Then, well, I also started doing the topic of posters so that the boys at least know all the guests. That those who came from the United States know what they're going to try, right? So my biche liqueur can't be translated, but what it contains can. So that was great because people could live the experience. What was it that we wanted? What is the particularity of destination weddings with Destination Ecuador? What we really want to highlight is our hospitality, our customer service. Beyond the rest that comes with it, the gastronomy, the landscapes, etc., etc., it is our hospitality that they feel at home, that they try a little bit of what we could offer them, and that they say, wow, delicious, delicious, I feel very good, and make them feel very well cared for. So the chef put on the shirt and did very well, but with Nidia, also with Mid Tyler, we said, well, but we want something bad. Pretty gringo, that is to say, everything was very good in Corviche, but the burgers had to come out at midnight, And it was every point that we thought about, because they are not things that as planners I really throw into the air or come up to me. I don't invent myself. Not everything is really already planned in one timing and is previously approved by my clients. My clients say they're fine, so we knew at midnight the burgers were going to come out, and it was a boom, I imagine. No, I asked Tyler's guests, but I imagine when they tried the burger as well as a little piece of America.
And like I will say also, like, for example, since we're talking about every single supplier, like they were even wearing like the typical like Ecuadorian like shirt, like a guayabera. Like they were even like wearing that. So like, okay, I said like I am really proud of my country. I really want to show it. Like, how can we do it? And they, all of them, like went the extra step. Like I never told them like dress up Ecuadorian. Like not at all. Like that never came up to my mind. But they're like, they get really into like the role and like the play and the idea you want to like show and like have everyone experience that. They're like, okay, like how can we act, like, okay, let's do that, but like what else can we do so we actually like go all the way with the topic that she wants to go with. So like that, when I saw them, I'm like, oh, they look so cute. Like as I said, every single one. And we're going to talk about other people that look really cute, the cocktails people. They look so cute too. That they were wearing like beachy like shirts and like colorful, and went with the, like the decoration they had.
Oh, yeah.
And they had like this like sign that said the drinks they had and like and whatever like ingredients it had on it. So like all of them, I never asked them like, hey, can you put a list of the cocktail? Those are things that you are not thinking about. And again, like that's a really good like benefit of like working with really good suppliers, that your wedding planner like being like, okay, I trust them 100% and I know they're like the right choice for you.
I like how they cater the experience for you guys, knowing that the communication, the language could be a barrier, and how they anticipated that need, and they took those initiatives to not only sell the tourism, the hospitality, but also the human connection part between the culture and the visitors that were coming in, so they can embrace also the culture.
Jessica, I wanted to ask you something, because when your Nidia and Tyler came to you, they exposed a lot of things about themselves to you, and I imagine you knew a lot about them. But I'm curious, what question would you have for them that you're curious about what you don't know?
Wow, I think I learned a lot about them, their lifestyle even. At what time do they go to the gym? Things that suddenly, perhaps not everyone knows. I mean, no, suddenly it's not necessary, but I kind of got to know you guys so much to know what Nidia wanted, all of Tyler's endorsements, which was like, okay, already you guys have this under control. He just said, I trust you. He was literally the accountant, nothing more than the accountant. And Lydia always said, or Kay, yes, how much does that cost? Or Kay, I'm going to ask the accountant like that. That's right. It was always like that. Ready? I'm going to tell the accountant. Then you have to notify the accountant about the band. It was a crazy thing because we exceeded the budget that we had already contemplated. So she says, yes. Is there an accountant didn't approve the band? We how?
And what did you do to convince them?
I want to know. That's a question, isn't it?
And I convinced you to get the base. It was a really nice story. We were actually sitting in this table. We had two friends over and my sister-in-law, and they were having like a couple of drinks. So we started like talking about wedding planning and blah blah blah. And I was like, actually, I want your opinion on these two bands,
Oh,
because
God.
by this time, like Ty was already like, oh, that's like that exceeds our budget, blah 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 blah. And I showed them like the two options we had available. That was the one I wanted, and it wasn't bad. I'm not gonna talk bad about them, but it's not what I wanted. Like for me, it was go big or go home, basically. This was like a 9 people like 9 musicians band. Like I literally went all the way. So I started like showing them, and like I played the English songs that they like play for us and blah blah blah. And they were like, yeah, Tyler, like that one is so much better. Like if you're gonna do it, just go with that one. And Tyler was like, okay, but I want to pick a couple songs. And I'm like, I'll take that. I'll make them play whatever song you want. And I was like, Jess, they have to start practicing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, and I did. Yes, certainly, obviously. And then the intern program. Nico, you can understand it was a moment of complicity, genuinely like that. Two girls collaborating, and at some point I perceived it similarly. Dad Tyler wasn't disapproving, seeing how he usually approves everything. Yet, how did he disapprove this time? I vividly remember a message from Nidia stating, there will definitively be no band. And I am hurt deeply. Won't there indeed be a band?
Boo Tyler, and he did make that decision. Like, boo.
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
No,
Tyler.
I know.
Like,
It's
big
like, I
party
did tell
pooper
her,
Tyler.
like, we're not doing like a band. I think Tyler, boo. If I
Boo. He's
Y de
like, boo.
repente me
You're not
decía
invited,
ella,
Tyler, anymore. It's
sí,
like,
no, Tyler, no.
I don't think he regrets it at all. Like now that he saw it and we lifted, he's like, yeah, we needed the band.
was it worth it?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. At one point after the wedding, my best man came up to me and he told Nidia and I that he had an incredible time with the band. At one point, we were all up on the stage. They were playing Mr. Brightside, which my friend and I, growing up, would play Rock Band and Guitar Hero. So we were up on stage doing the air guitar, the drums. It was a really fun time.
They were the rock stars. They were on the stage floor, dancing and playing. They felt like rock stars, but it was right. And it really was something. Like I always say, teamwork, right? Tyler had certain demands, and we met them like what we just talked about a moment ago about the pyrotechnics. Well, you want this ready? It costs so much. Perfect, ready, approved now. Tyler said he had already pleased us. I say no, because, well, I have everything in my head as formulated. Not then like it was the band. That was the band that had to be at their wedding, and, well, we achieved it.
I feel like I think what like I'm gonna say is that like whoever that is like planning a wedding, like keep your mind open. Like there's so many things that you don't know. And like at some point I was like, Ty and I were like, yeah, we're sticking to this budget. This is what we were gonna spend. And then just comes with like, oh, I have this. And I'm like, oh, let me see. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. For example, I remember that just was like, oh, you're not doing like anything for the Hora Loca, like the crazy hour that they played like the music and everything. And I was like, no, I haven't bought anything. So I went on Amazon and I was like, yes, should I get like I had already like screwed up my budget so bad that I was like, what's an extra $50? So I went on Amazon and I ordered like these like cool like glasses with like lights. And Tyler goes to my Amazon cart and he's like, oh, you're getting some glasses. And I was like, shit. And he's gonna be like, oh, Nita, calm down. You shouldn't be spending more money. And he's like, should we get the glow sticks as well? Like, we got so over the budget that we were like, we're already screwed. Let's just do it.
No, pero
Was my life, I wondered, I mean, do I have to comply with?
The activities typically conducted during weddings, he mentions, are essential, I tell him, just like how I abstain from food.
But you're going to have a great time, right? Leave me. See? It only took me 2 seconds to understand it. The glasses bought, and I was dying of laughter. But it was great. Crazy Hour was great. They came out for the whale.
Tyler, since Tyler's like literally an accountant, like he is the one that manages like our finances and everything. So at some point I was like I was even like not scared, but I was like, he's gonna tell me no. And I was like, Tyler, just told me this. Can we do it? And he's like, how much is it? Like, you know, like it was just like stressful at times because yeah, like money, whenever you talk about money can be stressful, but like also we made peace with the fact that this is like a one in a lifetime like experience, and we really wanted to enjoy it as much as possible. So we were like, okay, like is it worth it? It's like, are we actually gonna enjoy it? Do we need it? And stuff like that. But
yeah, I think to that point, Ecuador provided that, and so did Jess. Jess was able to give us options that were within our budget, and also presenting options that exceeded it, but also in those, when she exceeded it, it was for the right reasons. It was for good options. It was for things that we didn't necessarily think of that made the night a better night.
Mm-hmm.
And so to sum it all up, Ecuador provided a reasonable option wedding as well as a beautiful wedding that was within our budget, and it's a once in a lifetime moment. So we were able to get the best of both worlds there.
Like,
I'm glad that option was open for you guys, especially because Nidia comes from the country itself. But this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna ask you a question, then we'll go on a final round, and then we'll do like what we learned from today. But how much would a wedding of that magnitude in Ecuador would have cost in the United States? So we're just the flowers alone. I know they're really expensive in the States, and you don't get the same quality that you will get in Ecuador. So just think about like how much would you be able to do in the States compared to also getting to know another country, another culture,
Yeah. So first thing off the bat, I don't think fireworks are an option for most most weddings here. You'd have to get a lot of permits and licensings. But I think that overall, I think that the wedding would have been $40,000 to $60,000, somewhere in that range within the States.
I would say closer to the 60,000.
Yeah, it's vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the tourism too, like the experience of visiting another country, also you provided that experience to your parents, to your family, to your friends. And I think that also, like Jessica and I were talking about, like Jessica, you notice you're selling tourism too. That's part of what your dream planner does. And it's so amazing that she's embracing this moment. And trust me, she has nothing more than love for you guys. Like every time she talks about you, it's like, Tyler and Nidia were so amazing. So I'm going to do the last round of questions. I don't know, Autumn, you want to start them?
Yeah, I'm curious. So I know you guys wrote your own vows. What was that process like for you guys?
Do you want to start with me?
What happened on the same day? He composed the vows on the very day I saw him. Am I correct?
He possessed them. He had them on the phone, and I believe he transcribed them there. Indeed.
So
Okay.
I'm very big on dates. So I can tell you part of the vows as well. We're highlighting the exact date that I asked her to be my girlfriend. I even have written down in a notebook, because we were long distance, the exact time that she said yes to be my girlfriend long distance, down to the first time we said I love you, down to the first time. So I'm very big on record keeping. So that it came down to a day before we're talking about putting it in our phones, and I'm like, well, I just need some pen and paper. So I got some paper from my niece that has unicorns on it, and I'm like, all right, I'm writing it down on the unicorn paper. I don't care how bad it looks. In hindsight, maybe not the best idea, because I'm holding a microphone in one hand and I'm holding the notes in the other, but the wind keeps blowing over them. So I'm glad that I practiced ahead of time. But if you guys ever get the chance to see the vows, it ends up being me talking about those dates that led up to our special moment. So that was my thought process going throughout.
For me, it was like a way of like saying like thank you, and as like we've been already like married, as you guys know, but also like committing it like again, and like just being thankful for like I feel like a lot, like us having the opportunity of living that moment and experiencing that wedding had a lot to do with like Tyler, like the way he handled the finances, and like how he was like, okay, we cannot spend in here, we cannot do this and stuff like that. So like I could actually like have the wedding that I've always dreamt of. Like all of that was like super important for me. So mostly it was like just being thankful about me being able to live that moment, because like I always dream of it. So it was like huge. Like as I said, I would say that was my number one. Well, yeah, that was my number one dream. Like getting married to the person I love and I know I can be with forever.
Beautiful.
For you, Kevin.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing or favorite experience that you had with Jessica?
Ay, la mejor experiencia o anécdota, experiencia.
I will say my best experience like was Tyler was already gone to the beach and I just decompressed with her. I was like, this sucks. They suck. Blah blah blah. By the way, can you take the alcohol? Like it was just me decompressing and like she was my wedding planner, yes, but at that moment she was my friend. Like I already saw her as my friend and I was like, okay, we're not gonna talk about the wedding because that's already figured out. I gotta figure out my life right now and how I'm not gonna kill all of these people. So like I would say that was one of my favorite moments. Like Tyler was not involved there. It was only like girl talk, and like that is so important. Like having that connection with this person that is planning one of the most important days in your life. Like that was huge for me.
Yeah, for myself, I would say when we were trying the cocktail hour drinks, when we were trying the food, how Jess was so willing to just jump in the car and go to these places with us and take us around on such short notice. We were like, hey, we need to go. We want to try these things. We want the full wedding experience, right? When you're doing a destination wedding, a lot of times we were fearful of missing out on those opportunities, having her mom experience the band, having her mom experience the food, having her mom experience the desserts. So we wanted to do that and we were able to accomplish a lot of it and thanks to her. And it was a really fun day. And I remember just sitting next to her in the car. We're all jam packed in the car, nice and tight, just riding around to the different locations. But it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I remember that day. Yes, of course I do.
Well, I have a question with regards to, well, the funny thing about this story is like Jessica was like Al Capone back in the days, like bringing alcohol like it's a contraband. That is hilarious. So, but my question to you guys is like, when you told your families and friends that you were going to get married, how did they react to that moment?
I think so. Initially, when I first told my parents, I actually I wanted to see if our relationship was going to work. So when we first started dating, I didn't tell my family until we were talking for 4 or 5 months, and I think I even told my mom like a month.
And it was like 2 weeks before.
Maybe 2 weeks before I was going. I was just like, I'm going to Ecuador. I'm going to go see about this girl, and there's nothing that you can say or do about it at this point. I already bought my ticket, and I was a grown man, so I was like, I'm gonna go find out if this is the real deal. So when we got married, like Nidia pointed out, my mom has a very close relationship with Nidia. They were all thrilled. They were all ecstatic. We had nothing but love and support from our family members, and I think that was a big part of it. There's often jokes that I hear within the workplace and through friends that, oh, you can't get along with your mother-in-law, you can't get along with your in-laws. Well, I couldn't say our in-laws couldn't be any closer. They have a great relationship. Nidia's mom doesn't really speak a lot of English, but you can see her breaking out of her shell and practicing with my family as well as myself. And my parents are doing their best to try and communicate in Spanish as well. So it's been a wonderful experience seeing the two families come together.
Like for me, it just fills my heart because like I call my mom. Well, I don't call my mom Mamita, but I have her like saved on my phone as Mamita, and I have my dad saved on my phone as Papito. So my parents don't have names. They're Mamita and Papito. No matter who. Like Tyler's like all the family that went from here, like for everyone were like Mamita, Papito. Like that's the relationship we've been able to build with like both sides of like our families. And like for me, like my mom is my best friend on earth. So for me, that just like fills my heart like 100%. Like just being able to like have that relationship with like not only his mom, his dad, like his sister, his nieces, like his cousin, and also like friends and everyone. Like I've been lucky to like, I can tell like I don't see them as like Tyler's family or my family. We're just like one family. So that like that's really important.
Even the week of the wedding, a lot of my friends and cousins and things like that started calling her parents Mamita and Papito.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love the fact that there's always this whole idea that, there's a barrier. And honestly, you guys created bridges for your lives and connected two families that were so distant not because of the relationship, but because of the distance itself. And you were able to embrace two cultures and make it one. And, you guys definitely embrace a lot of love and hopefully empowerment to people that believe that if they're abroad and they have a long distance relationship, it's all about the commitment. And are you willing to take that trip? Are you willing to take that risk? Are you really to be honest? And you guys have done that tremendously with one another. And the end result of, finding Jessica in her company, Dream Planner, just speaks volume about Jessica's commitment to everyone's happiness. And that's one thing I want to recognize Jessica for that, because these are not consumers. These are not clients. They become your family because you have memories from them for life. So, te pregunto algo, Jessica. ¿Cómo tú quieres recordar a Nidia y Tyler ya que ha pasado la boda? ¿Cómo deseas recordarlo?
Well, we made a promise, and I'm going to remind you right now, and that all the listeners are here and viewers. They promised that every time I traveled to Ecuador, they would let me know and we would see each other. And now, yes, with permission and tranquility, we could have some cocktails and remember their wedding again. So for us, it hasn't been good. Yes, thank you for everything and see you. No, no, no. For us, it is actually every day, suddenly some post something that we have to remember. All the material is still missing, therefore I am going to name, remember, and post them. There is still a lot left to overcome, as I tell you on the networks. No, 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 I can't get over you, I tell Nidia in the publications, because I want them to remember, as Nidia said at the time, I didn't feel that she was talking to her advisor, maybe with her service provider, like any service provider you offer. But there comes a time when she felt that she was talking to a friend, and I was trying to put myself as well as a friend with that complicity. So friends don't say goodbye despite the distance, or they don't share like they did in college anymore. They don't share a classroom, but friends are still friends over time. This is the way I want you to remember that I first married some clients, and in the end, we married some great friends that I have in the United States. And that soon, God willing, I can travel there, and rather I visit them in Delaware. Not Delaware, yes. Right? That's also another promise we have. I told Nidia I'm going to go there and I'm going to visit you. And, well, they always don't. The doors of the super cool house are open. So I do want them to remember me as their supplier, is the friend. And who knows, I do understand everything is wonderful for me.
I understand that you're wearing interpination not only in the coastal area but also in the Galapagos, in the Sierra, also in the Amazon. How can they contact you? For example, Nidia had a person who intermediated for her, but as a person who does not know about you, she could provide your services.
Or, well, you can follow me on my social networks on Instagram. Apart from Dream Planner Kines, I have created a new profile that is precisely called Destination Werees. This Instagram profile is already in English precisely for those couples who search, find it in the search engine, and can reach my profile. I also have a YouTube account because I understand that people in the United States at least use this tool a lot. So I'm hanging up and will continue to hang up a lot of information so they can find me in search engines. I think that would be one of my main tools, Instagram and YouTube. And once they contact me, I respond immediately because I can assist them. Not only do I work on the coastal profile, but we do events at the country level, not the coast, mountains, east, and the island region.
Bueno, thank you so much for being our guest, Tyler and Nidia. We love you guys. We love your relationship. I'm still trying to get like 50% discount on hopefully Kevin and Autumn to get a discount with Jess. I always bother her with this, but Jessica, you are a tremendous entrepreneur, pioneer. I really admire what you do. Your business is not just to make an incredible wedding, is to create a destination for love. And I think that's what we need to start looking at it when they hire you. You're making a dream come true, but also you make them be part of it and live it as well. And for that, I want to thank you. The Ethicsville podcast is your home. This is not our first podcast. This will be our second one, and there's probably many to come. We're planning to do a bi-weekly podcast, just talk about weddings. Not a lot of people talk about the psychological effects of wedding, and I happen to be an expert in that criteria, and we're able to talk about that. And hopefully, with that, people can better prepare themselves for wedding, and also hire Dream Planner. Dream Planner is amazing. You hear it from Nidia and Tyler, and guys, stay tuned for more. We value your time. Comment, like, subscribe. It's very important, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Gracias.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
We are going to make a small change of plans in the house where the groom is with all his court. The light went out unexpectedly, so here we have rooms. I am going to set it up for him to come here, and we have to change the theme of the photo session of them. Luckily, there's a plan B.
How good the distribution would be like this. Or K in this one here, as I told you, at the round tables there will always be 8 people, while some who are 7 too.
Well, less.
I comment.
Since we are already in the final stretch of the event, more or less approximately 45 minutes before, we have already located everything that is sweet. Since we are on the beach, we cannot put it much time in advance due to the sun. We can also see this area that we have here, a station. I think this is the most fun area and the best way to receive guests. Who wouldn't want to come to the event and get a shot?
You can lower your shoulder a little, lower your shoulder, relax it. Oh, perfect, exactly.
First, it has to sound great, and then it sounds
good.
Right now, we are setting up something like a guy from the coast to Ecuador. And the idea was that of the bride, because the groom is American. So the bride had the idea to say, you know what, Ale, I need you to make me a native diving station. We are still making preparations.
I'm trying to coexist